Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get right into it. First thing I learned this weekend is that the Bengals are still going to be a really good offensive team. And you're probably thinking to yourself, well, wait a second. They lost 23-20. They turned the ball over 5 times. They have some issues in the kicking game. And that's my point, is that in spite of all that, they were still in the game at the end. No T. Higgins. They outgained Pittsburgh almost 2-1. They had 32 first downs. Pittsburgh had 13. And they were right there at the end. If not for their kicking issues, they would have won that game. So I expect no problems from this team moving forward at all. Yeah, Joe Burrow threw 4 interceptions, looked a little rusty, but remember, this is his first playing time in quite some time. He didn't play in the preseason at all. He had some minor surgery in the offseason. So give the guy a break. Everything's going to be perfectly fine with this team. Conversely, in that same game, the second thing that I learned this weekend is that Pittsburgh's offense is still terrible. Yeah, they won the game. I guess you could give Mitch Trubisky credit, so to speak, for driving the team down and having Boswell kick that field goal to win it in overtime. But good Lord, 13 first downs. I think it was 260, 270 total yards. They had 5 turnovers. They should have destroyed the Bengals, but yet they had to wait for that kick in overtime to win the actual game. And by the way, this offense looked exactly the same as it did last year when everybody talked about how Ben Roethlisberger was washed up. He's got nothing left in his arm. It's the exact same offense. Mitch Trubisky threw the ball 9 times for more than 10 yards. 9 times, completed 4 of them, but only 9 times. If you look at the passing chart, there were a bulk of attempts within 10 yards. That is the same offense that Pittsburgh ran last year, and everybody blamed Roethlisberger. Guess what? It wasn't Roethlisberger's fault. It's Matt Canada's fault, the offensive coordinator. So Pittsburgh's running that same offense. Continue to expect mediocre results until they fix that. Third thing I learned this past weekend, the Chiefs are going to be okay. There's a lot of talk last offseason about, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? Tyreek Hill's gone. What are they going to do? Yeah, they just went out and beat the Cardinals 44-21. Mahomes went 30 for 36, 360 yards, 5 touchdown passes. He got Juju involved, Valdes-scantling involved, and Kelsey was Kelsey. They rotated the running backs in and out. That team is going to be perfectly fine. They're going to be right there at the end of the season for a trip to the Super Bowl. Nothing to worry about there. The fourth thing I learned this weekend is the Cowboys are done. Dak Prescott injured, out 6 to 8 weeks. Cooper Rush is your starting quarterback. Say that out loud with me. Cooper Rush is the Cowboys starting quarterback. Now that doesn't kind of conjure up images of the Cowboys going to the playoffs in your head, right? Maybe an 8-8 season for them. Maybe they get on the upper side of 500, but they're not making the playoffs after the Dak injury. There's no way. Last thing I learned this weekend is that Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett might need a little bit of help with his late game decision making. Broncos down 17-16, about 2 minutes left or so in the game. They have the ball deep in their own territory. Plenty of timeouts. Again, plenty of time left. All they need to do is drive down the field, get in moderate field goal range, or score a touchdown to win the game. They have a good field goal kicker in McManus. And by the way, they have Russell Wilson at quarterback, one of the best QBs in the game today, probably a Hall of Famer. And oh, by the way, you gave him $250 million in the offseason to handle specific situations like this, to count on him in situations like this. But what you do is you take your time driving down the field, you get to your opponent's 46-yard line, you wait to call a timeout instead of maybe using a timeout and trying to go for it on 4th and 5, again, with Russell Wilson as your quarterback. But yet, you take the 64-yard field goal, which McManus, of course, misses because guess what? He's 1 for 8 in field goals longer than 60 yards in his career. Why would you ever do that rather than rely on Russell Wilson to get you 5 yards and use your timeouts appropriately to get McManus a better shot at a field goal or potentially score a touchdown to win the game?